a big fat drum, I've got a big fat drum, pounding so bad.
One day we're gonna be able to do a whole podcast without breaking. Without breaking. We're gonna do that.
That's our next level.
Then next level. We're gonna evolve. We're constantly trying to evolve the podcast. The next thing. So we're just talking about movement capacities, movement athletes, pretty much. I'm trying to think about back to the so we divide a little bit from the ASCA stuff. So keep going with the ASCA presentation. What from microdosing?
Yep.
All right. What did you present on, and how did you present that information? And then what could you provide, say, more? If you were talking to those coaches now, that you were saying, okay, cool. Well, I felt it was a little bit low. What more would you add to them? And then also, what could you give to those who are watching who didn't go to that presentation? I'm trying to get it for free, just so you understand. Right here.
Really, from what I presented on, because it was a broad topic, so I presented on specifically specificity, and so specificity with your training in relation to the sport, and then how to create a well-rounded athlete.
Okay.
That topic right there is just way too basic for a professional S&C. They know all that stuff. So from what I presented on, I couldn't really up that anymore to a professional.
Okay. Yep.
I need to break it down to something very specific.
Yep. Okay.
To do that. So I guess to talk about what I did talk about for everyone else out there, so everything I do in the gym with the boys and on court with the boys is always related back to the sport. So I'm not going to do anything that's not basketball related. There's no point. Having said that, I do cross training, which is jiu-jitsu and so on. That's a cross training phase which we'll go through, or a program, and that is part of the overall scheme of the program. But all the programs I personally design are specific to basketball abilities. Okay. So that was the first part of the presentation, just talking about specificity. I then went into how I designed the programs. I mainly went into resistance training. Okay. I didn't do too much talk on the conditioning side of things. The resistance training of it, as I said, I go step by step through all the movements: push, pull, lunge, twist, squat, bend, all that sort of stuff, and then incorporate them together. So push and pull together, or push and a bend, pull and a bend. You can't really do push and a bend.
You can, it just looks weird.
How do you do a push and a bend?
Like you'll be probably on your back on the floor, and you're going to be getting a med ball, and you just flex and throw it above your head.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair. I'm thinking
weird moves that are going to incorporate in the gym this
week.
Which
can happen.
Can happen.
I like it. Okay, so you can do that, and then incorporate all the planes of movement. Yep. So a push, a bend, and a rotation. So all those three. So you got that push, which is sagittal, and then adding the transverse plane in there with the pushing motion. So combining all the stuff together. So I make sure all my programs, whether it's a 1-day program or a 1-week program, into a 3-day split, cover all those things. So I spoke about that sort of stuff. I spoke about how I program a pre-season, which is I use the undulating model, and how I phase them out. So I always start with an anatomical adaptation phase, which is just learning the lifts. So those rookies that are coming in, understanding the Murph style of lifting, which is different to some other coaches. So I take them through that phase, and it's normally about a 2-week phase.
Can you go into that a little bit more? So could you tangentialize into that one for a minute?
Tangentially. Can't even say the word.
When you say the Murph style lifting is different to other coaches, how would you describe your style compared to other coaches' styles?
Now, it probably is similar to a lot of other coaches as well.
Okay.
But not similar to a lot of other coaches.
Okay, so let's pretend I'm now coming in. What would you give me, like the 10-second rundown? Here's what you're going to get from me. Rather than be like different to those coaches, like you'd be like, here's what you're going to get from me, here's what it's going to look like.
Cool. So, I mean, I guess it's what I just said before. So it's covering all the movements, covering all the planes, it's covering being specific to the sport, and it's looking at the full functionality of the human body towards the sport. So yes, a squat is very much basketball related. You squat in a defensive stance isometrically, you're going to squat eccentric into concentric into a
squat
jump.
onto the bench when you go to sit
You're going to squat to sit on the bench, and squat to get up off the bench when coach calls you in. There's lots of squatting going on.
There's lots of squatting going on.
But then I incorporate all the other things, like as I said, you do a squat with a push and then a transverse plane rotation.
It's very compound movement basically.
Exactly. So that, I mean, obviously I do use the isolation into integration. So I'm not going to start anatomical adaptation with a squat push rotation. Too much to go on there. I will start with a squat.
Yep.
And then as the phases go on, then you go into that real high end of functionality because you've got the muscle mass behind you, you've got the knowledge on how to move your body, you've improved some posture, you've got some better core. Now we can go, let's put it all together, isolate, 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 integrate. Now we're ready for this game. And that's that very end specific preparation phase where you're about to now go into competition phase.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So then you go from that in your phases.
Yep. So I go through anatomical adaptation, and I normally go into a strength or hypertrophy based on whatever coach is looking for from his team. With these guys, I normally go into a strength phase, then to a hypertrophy phase, then I go into so not hypertrophy / power, because hypertrophy itself is too slow. So hypertrophy power phase, looking at the type 2B muscle fiber, and then we'll go into a little bit of endurance, not a lot, because these are more power athletes, and we normally try and get them on the court for around about 6 minutes max at a time. Okay. So they're not really hitting that maximum endurance level. So these are lactic power athletes. And then we go into, we sort of maintain that area towards the competition end of, and taper off, of course.
Yeah. Cool.
And then, of course, there's the conditioning side of it as well. Yes, specific to the game. One thing I did bring in was true agility, not just agility.
Describe it.
So agility is...
no, use that for my hand then.
Agility is you got 1 cone, 2 cone, 3 cone. Okay, you got to run, you got to hit this cone, hit that cone, run to the baseline, done.
Pre-planned path.
Pre-planned path.
Yes.
Say that 20 times.
Agility.
True agility is, okay, this is cone 1, this is cone 2, this is cone 3. I'm going to call out a random bunch of cones. I'm also going to throw, when you reach this cone, I'm going to stand behind it. I'm going to throw a certain colour cloth on the ground. Whatever colour lands is what move you need to do. Yep. The whole time I've got someone running next to you yelling out your name, and there's a crowd noise in the background screaming.
Just on like a speaker?
On a speaker.
Can we bring that into the gym?
Yes. We're actually going to, if you want to come down and have a listen, we're going to do that on Saturday with a scrimmage.
What time?
It'll be 9:30. So scrimmage day for inter-team scrimmage. We get on the, I don't know if you can see it, the big box, we've got the speakers all around that for game days. We put crowd noise on the box.
Oh my God.
So and we crank it. So we can't hear ourselves talking.
Yeah.
So it's got game day crowd levels, trying to do a scrimmage. So it just sort of reenacts that game day experience. We're going to bring all the seats in. Or out, should I say, bring them all out so it feels like it's a game situation. So that's true agility. So it's completely uncertain. There's no path that's set beforehand. I call it on the spot, you react. There's a good word for it. It's reactive agility.
I was going to say, when I do it, I commonly call it reactive agility because you're reacting to an external stimuli.
Yep, exactly right. So that's one thing I did speak about is, with teams, I think that is good agility. Like the typical agility is still good to work on some of the basic levels of tendon, ligament strength and some muscle adaptation, but to make it specific and especially the competition end of, that specific end of the preparation phase, it needs to be reactive.
So the predicted path of agility work, right, is good for learning movement through angles. Yep. You're teaching that movement. Like you would teach a squat, right? You teach a squat, just whatever. Yep. So it's good for learning those, okay, you need your foot to this angle, but if you're trying to do that at pace and you're trying to make decisions, that's when the risk of injury goes up. So it's still, the reactive agility is still a certain distance down the line from when you first start doing agility work. Yeah. So, which is why you may hear, for those out there, you may hear of coaches or athletes or whoever talking about agility ladders, all right, and why they're not good. I am of the belief that they are okay for a certain tiny period of time. At the beginning. Yeah. For footwork, bullshit. Absolute bullshit. But to teach angular movement and to teach stop-start within, you want to stop at second line, third line, jump to here or jump up there, it's good to train those capabilities and those capacities of doing that. But then that has to go pretty quickly. It's almost to start changing the athlete.
Pam would know. Cut that bit.
Cut that bit. Yeah.
Another way to look at it is like school teachers will use. Do we stop now?
No, we'll keep going. We got a minute.
School teachers will use the phases of learning.
Yep.
So it's capable but unconscious, or capably conscious. So
Oh yeah, like
at
that
point,
unknowingly unconscious.
Yeah.
So you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you know what you don't know, but can't do it.
Yep.
And then what was the
You
next
can
one?
do it, but you need to think about it. So you're consciously capable. That's one. Consciously
Yep.
capable. So that agility is you're consciously capable of doing it.
Mhm.
We need you unconsciously capable, which is
Yep.
that reactive side of
Which
it.
we read to start in games.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you start with the consciously. So you're thinking the whole time. There. Done. Then we go. Now let's make it unconscious. There's a green cloth. I've got to turn right. I've got to do a reverse layup with someone screaming in my ear.
Mhm.
That's what we need to get to.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point because I want to talk about. I'll talk briefly about what I'm doing with the boys in preseason now with my soccer team now.
Yeah.
Because I've recently got a male soccer team on board, but I'm starting to incorporate some of this stuff into that.
I've got a big fat drum, big fat drum. I've got a big fat drum, pounding so bad. I've got a big fat drum, big fat drum. I've got a big fat, big. Hey!